The year is 1894. A president falls, not to a coup, but to a single, fanatical blade. The year is 1894. Europe stood at the precipice of a new century, brimming with both technological marvels and simmering social unrest. Yet, in Lyon, France, a single, fanatical blade would carve a bloody line in history, a wound that resonated far beyond the streets of that ancient city. President Sadi Carnot, the dignified leader of the Third French Republic, believed himself safe amidst the adoring crowds. He was a man of science, an engineer by training, a symbol of progress. He represented stability in an age yearning for it. But beneath the surface, a dark current of radicalism, known as anarchism, was gaining strength. Its adherents believed in the abolition of all government, all authority, often advocating for propaganda of the deed acts of violence designed to inspire revolution. Our story begins on June 24, 1894, in the heart of Lyon. Carnot was attending a colonial exhibition, a celebration of French power and prestige. The atmosphere was festive, the streets thronged with well-wishers. Among them, however, lurked a figure named Sant Geronimo Caserio, a young Italian baker, slight in stature, but burning with a fierce, revolutionary zeal. He was an anarchist, driven by a deep-seated anger against the state. Caserio carried a dagger, an implement as ancient as betrayal itself, sharpened for a singular, chilling purpose. He saw Carnot not as a man, but as the embodiment of an oppressive system deserving of death. The presidential carriage, a grand open vehicle, moved slowly through the streets, allowing Carnot to greet the crowds. This deliberate accessibility, a symbol of Republican openness, would prove to be his undoing. At approximately 9:15 p.m., as the carriage passed along the Rue de la République, Caserio made his move. He darted forward, slipping past the sparse security, a blur of intent amidst the cheers. With a swift, brutal motion, he plunged his dagger deep into the president's abdomen. The crowd's cheers instantly transformed into gasps of horror, then screams. Carnot slumped forward, mortally wounded. Caserio, instead of fleeing, stood for a moment, raising his dagger and shouting, "Vive l'anarchie, long live anarchy." He was swiftly apprehended, but the damage was done. President Sadi Carnot died hours later, in the early hours of June 25th, at the prefecture in Lyon, bleeding out from the fatal wound. The assassination sent shockwaves across France and Europe. It wasn't merely the death of a head of state, it was a brazen act of terror, a direct assault on the very idea of stable governance. Caserio's motive was clear: revenge. He claimed his act was in retaliation for the execution of Auguste Vaillant, an anarchist who had bombed the French Chamber of Deputies a few months prior, and the subsequent Lois celebrates the villainous laws passed to suppress anarchism. These laws allowed for severe restrictions on press freedom and increased surveillance of suspected anarchists, essentially criminalizing dissent. Caserio saw Carnot, as president, as ultimately responsible for this crackdown. His trial was swift. Caserio showed no remorse, proudly proclaiming his anarchist beliefs and justifying his actions as a necessary blow against tyranny. He was sentenced to death. On August 16, 1894, Sant Geronimo Caserio was executed by guillotine in Lyon. His final words, "Courage, comrades, vive l'anarchie," echoed his unwavering conviction. The assassination of Sadi Carnot was a stark illustration of the fin de siècle terror, the wave of anarchist bombings and assassinations that gripped Europe and America in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. From Tsar Alexander Roman II in Russia to King Umberto I of Italy, anarchist violence targeted heads of state, symbolizing their rejection of all authority. It was a terrifying, unpredictable threat. The public reaction was a mixture of fear, outrage, and a growing demand for order. Governments responded with harsher laws, increased policing, and international cooperation to track and suppress anarchist networks. Yet the allure of anarchism persisted for some, a desperate cry against perceived injustice and inequality. The seeds of these ideas would continue to sprout in various forms throughout the coming century. Carnot's death underscored the vulnerability of even the most powerful figures when faced with a determined, ideologically driven individual. It forced a re-evaluation of security protocols for public officials worldwide. The dagger that ended Sadi Carnot's life was more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of an age grappling with profound social change, a harbinger of the political violence that would define much of the 20th century. The legacy of Cassirio's act is a complex one, a chilling reminder of how radical ideology can drive individuals to extreme violence, forever altering the course of history with a single brutal blow. Next, we'll delve into the enduring mystery surrounding the murder of another European monarch, King Alexander I of Yugoslavia.